You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to Merkel. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Friday, August the 22nd. I'm your host, Mike Oliva. We have a lot of stuff happening in the world of the Miami Dolphins. The final preseason game is Saturday, tomorrow. We have some speculation and rumors out there on, some guys who might be cut, some guys who might not be cut. We're going to talk about that. And there's also an ESPN article talking about the Miami Dolphins rookies I want to discuss as well. Before we get to any of that, as always, a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone go to the website, caneswear.com, for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins hoodie, jersey, shirt, shorts, whatever, socks, anything for the house, anything for the car with a Miami Dolphins logo on it, caneswear.com is the place to go. If you're in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. But again, if you're on the web and you're looking for something for yourself, for your kid, for your wife, for your husband, that you want to sort of treat them before the start of this NFL season, the first website to go to is caneswear.com. They got all the best Miami Dolphins stuff at the best prices too. Also, they have stuff for the Miami Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat, the Miami Marlins. But really, if you're a Dolphins fan, if you're a fan of the Miami Dolphins, caneswear.com. Also, Dolphins Talk Extra. We have a ton of stuff happening over there. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. If you haven't signed up, this is the time. Why? Your first month is $1. $1 for the first month. Test it. Go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Use the promo code DTX1. You'll get access to a private message board, which is a little less toxic than social media. Trust me. And we have a lot of fun there. We have bonus podcasts, some about the Dolphins, some not about the Dolphins. We do retro rewatches where we watch old games and comment on them. We have live watch-alongs in season. We're going to have a bunch of them this season where Josh, Aaron, and myself have a live watch-along. You can watch the game and comment and join us in real time. We also do happy hours where you, the listeners, can jump on a podcast like this with us and interact with us. And we also have fantasy games. We have a survivor pool in the Pick'em League where we got really cool prizes, autographs of Cameron Wake, Dwight Stevenson, and stuff like that. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. And if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and put up a comment in the comment section. All right, final preseason game is tomorrow on Saturday. If you're listening on Saturday, it is tonight, 7 p.m. Saturday night. It's live on the NFL Network. So even if you don't live in South Florida, you can watch this game live. NFL Network's going to have it. And they'll probably have the Miami Dolphins announcers feed. So, because they're the home team. So you can hear the Miami Dolphins announcers there. The goal for this game is to survive it with no injuries. It is the final preseason game. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. I don't care who looks good. I don't care who looks bad. Don't get anyone else hurt heading into week one. That's the goal number one. Miami is going to play their starters some. What's some? One series, maybe two series. That's probably it. And there's some starters I don't even want to see in this game. But I'm sure we're going to see a few. But I doubt you'll see Hill. I doubt you'll see... You might see Minka this week for a series. I don't know. But Zach Sealer... Zach Sealer you probably won't see this week because I know he's been nursing something small. Maybe you will. But I don't think you're going to see him much. One series, maybe two. Jacksonville's not playing any starters, they said. They're resting everybody. So, yeah, if you're the Dolphins, again, I don't care if the starters go out there and look like crap against the backups. As long as nobody gets hurt, that's the only thing right now. So there's that. Well, and what we're going to be watching for in this game, and if you're a fan of the Dolphins, which you should be watching, it's the same things we've sort of been watching for in all the preseason games. The secondary. Can anyone step up and look like a real cornerback? Because there's questions. I mean, Miami's got guys who are like fourth and fifth corners. They don't have any ones and twos. Like he's a cornerback one, he's a cornerback two. Now look, when we get to week one, these guys are going to be cornerback one, cornerback two. But in reality, on any other team, they're a fourth or a fifth corner. Omar Kelly's been making a valid point this week, and he ain't wrong, where he says if the Miami Dolphins waived or cut every cornerback on their roster. They cut them all. How many are getting a waiver claim put in on them? One. Storm Duck might get a waiver claim. Jack Jones was out there unsigned. No one's putting a claim on him. Mike Hilton was unsigned. No one's putting a claim on him. Jason Marshall was drafted. Maybe he gets a claim, I guess. Kendall Shearfield ain't. Cam Smith ain't. A lot of these guys, Isaiah Johnson ain't. I mean, maybe Storm Duck, maybe Jason Marshall. That's it. Like, we got guys that a lot of teams wouldn't want. And if they did want them, they'd be their fourth, fifth, or sixth corner. We're going to ask two of them to be ones and twos, which is kind of scary. So we're going to be looking for, can anyone in the secondary look like they have improved or have improved enough to be like, okay, it might be bad, but maybe it won't be that bad. The backup offensive line this training camp. Now, the starting five, I think, are going to be fine, especially when Austin Jackson gets back. Starting five, I have a little bit of confidence in this year. I think they're going to be improved. So I'm not talking about the starters. Thumbs up on the starters. The second stringers, the third stringers, they've looked atrocious. They've looked atrocious in the practices from the people who are there. They've looked atrocious from the people I talk to who are smart, who are there. And from the two preseason games we've seen, they've looked atrocious there. Will any of these second string offensive linemen look like they deserve a roster spot? Because right now you can make a case none of them do. Their two best offensive linemen off the bench are hurt, and Andrew Meyer and Liam Eichenberg, and that's not even a tackle. Larry Borum, I guess, okay, him too. But they're going to have to, if those guys aren't ready for week one, Liam won't be. Meyer, he had a brace on his elbow this week. I guess he might be getting close. I don't know what that means, close. I have no idea. So will any of the backup offensive linemen look competent? And if not, expect the Miami Dolphins to be putting in a lot of waiver claims next week to pick up guys who are cut from other teams on the offensive line. Because second string, they got nothing. And a tight end. Waller is off PUP, practiced a little. I don't think he'll play, which is fine. But can Tanner Connor, Julian Hill, or Pharaoh Brown do anything? Because really, they can block a little in Hill and Brown. But can any of them make, consistent plays in the passing game, or do they even look like, one of them should start? That's going to be a big question. I think Waller's only going to play on passing downs. Waller was never known for his blocking, and he's coming out of retirement, and he missed all of camp. So I think he'll be active week one, but I think, you're only going to see him out there 10 to 15 snaps a game, passing downs only. They're not going to have him put his hand in the dirt and block. They're just not. So he's not really, he'll be out there on key passing downs, but I don't think he's just like quote unquote someone who starts. So there's that. But really the goal is just survive with no injuries. Speaking of injuries, let's talk about the running backs. The Miami Dolphins need bodies at running back. Devon Achane has his calf injury, soft tissue. Mike McDaniel said, should be ready by week one, not too worried. But again, this organization, likes to lie about injuries too. And if you don't believe me, Will Fuller, Odell Beckham Jr., Isaiah Wynn, just named three in recent history. So you can't really take them at their word. Jalen Wright limped off the practice field on Thursday. And for the people who were there, it did not look good. Does that mean he's hurt bad? I don't know. Not yes, but not no either. We don't know. So with those two guys in flux, Alexander Madison out for the year, Ollie Gordon's the only healthy back we got as of today. Now, that doesn't mean he'll be the only healthy back come week one, but as of today, he's the only healthy back we got. And there was a rumor. Well, there was news that for the past week, Washington has been trying to trade Brian Robinson, their running back, because they have a lot of other backs, and they're looking to move him to get some picks. And Miami, there was a rumor on social media that they were the clubhouse leader most of the week to land him. Well, today on Friday, San Francisco traded for Brian Robinson. So he's in San Francisco. Okay. Dolphins, I think, and again, no offense to Aaron Shamplin or Mike Boone. I think those are just training camp bodies, not guys you want to go into as a number 3 running back or so week one if one of these other guys is hurt now for a while. And what scares me a little bit on Achane is calf. Calf's a little scary, soft tissue calf, because what do we see in the NBA playoffs with Halliburton and Tatum, calf injuries and stuff like that? They try to play through it, rupture their Achilles. I'm not saying that's the case with Achane. I'm not. But anytime you start hearing calf these days and with a professional athlete, your mind has to race there because we've seen it so much. So hopefully, even if Miami doesn't rush him back, say he does miss week 1 and week 2 and he comes back week 3, that's always going to be in the back of your head this year, I think, for a little bit at least. So the Achane one, that kind of scares me just because of where it is. The right one, I have no idea. Although, Just everyone who was there said he limped badly off the field. So we'll see about that. But with Robinson in San Francisco, that might bring a familiar face home. And once again, Omar Kelly mentioned this, and he ain't wrong. The San Francisco 49ers signed Jeff Wilson. I want to say the day Miami played the Bears, because that game was at like 1. They signed him at like noon or like 11, or they signed him the Saturday before. And then Alexander Madison hurts his neck out for the year versus the Bears. And everyone's like, which, if that game wasn't on a Sunday, if it was on a Saturday, we would have been able to sign Wilson, have him come home. He knows the offense. He knows the head coach, knows the system. He was just down here for a few years. Jeff Wilson would have been perfect. Well, Jeff Wilson might be the odd man out in San Francisco now, because Robinson with McCaffrey, and they got some other younger guys they like. Wilson will probably get cut in the next few days. And if that happens, that would be a nice veteran back for Miami to have. And I know everyone's saying, well, we got Ollie Gordon. Look, I like Ollie Gordon too. No one likes him more than me. Trust me. No one likes him more than me. But Ollie Gordon's a rookie. And he's been going up against second and third stringers and guys who will not be in the NFL in about 72 hours. When we line up week 1 versus the Colts, on week 2 versus the Patriots, on week 3 versus the Bills, Ollie Gordon, he'll be up against grown-ass men, like all pros, Pro Bowlers. Like, that's a different ball game. And while I think he'll be fine, and I love the fact he's here, and he should be running back 2 as long as Achan's healthy, I don't want to put that much on his plate and ruin this kid. We need another veteran back. And plus, I don't know how good Ollie Gordon's going to be at pass blocking when the games really count for real. And you got these coordinators staying up at nights, coming up with exotic packages to get after a quarterback. You got to be careful how much you use Ollie once we get to the regular season. Yes, everything looks great so far. He probably should be running back 2, but you got to be careful, and you got to keep expectations in check and in reality. So if Jeff Wilson's let go by San Francisco, I hope Miami makes a play to get him back here. And if not him, another veteran like that. Because the right and the stuff with Achan, until we get more word on how bad or how not bad those injuries are, we need more at running back. So Wilson might be a name. And if not, I think next week we're going to be adding a running back and a veteran one. So it might be a guy who's a little past his prime, might be a guy who's a little bit older, but someone who's got some experience who can at least pick up a blitz so our quarterback doesn't get drilled. While these guys might be nursing injuries here for like a few weeks. Let's talk about the secondary real quick. Specifically, the cornerback position and the slot corner, the nickelback position. Kader Kohu goes down. Miami goes out and signs Mike Hilton that day. Mike Hilton is currently listed first string on the depth chart. Don't mean anything, but he's listed first string. And out of everyone in that cornerback room, he has the most experience by a country mile. He played like 125, 126 games, started like 70 or 80. He's got like a wealth of experience. Here's the thing. In 2 preseason games, he's only played in 13 snaps. And you can say, okay, he don't need to play in the preseason. He's a vet. Okay, fair. But in practice, we talk in practice where everyone's out there. In practice, whether they're practicing against themselves or in the joint practices, he's been very, very limited. Hasn't seen the field much, and he's not hurt. The Miami Dolphins are saying they want to give a longer look to the younger guys that they don't know about, and they want to get them more work. Fair enough. I could buy into that maybe. Or they might be saying, look, this guy is 31, which isn't ancient, but wrong side of 30 and a lot of wear and tear. At that position, when you cross that magical age of 30 and when you have like 126, you played in like 125 or 126 NFL games, that's a lot of wear and tear on you. They might be saving this guy. Look, he's old. And look, there was a reason he wasn't signed, because he did lose a step. He's not the fastest guy in the world. They might be like, we got to save this guy for a full season. And if we think, by some chance we're going to be in the hunt late, we got to make sure he's healthy and fresh in November and December. So they might be limiting his reps. That's fair too. But there's an or I should say not but. Jason Marshall, the rookie, round 5 out of Florida, the past 2 weeks or so has gotten a long look as your slot corner, nickel corner. Not a position he played in college at Florida, not a position he's really played before. And from all the reports from the people who are there and the people I talk to are there who are the smart ones, not just your random Joe Blow fan, he's picked it up kind of like a fish to water, and he's played really well in that slot nickel corner. So maybe has Marshall passed Hilton on the depth chart? Maybe has Marshall played so well it makes Hilton expendable? And if Miami cuts him, because Hilton didn't come here for free. He was a veteran sitting at home for a reason. You want to get paid. Now, it's not like he got paid a lot, but we know the Dolphins this offseason are pinching pennies. Why are we paying for Hilton? We got Marshall. Wouldn't shock me if Hilton is a surprise cut next week. I don't think it's going to happen. But again, from some of the rumblings we're seeing, from how some of his usage is, not in the games, but in practice, I wouldn't be shocked if Hilton was a surprise cut. I don't think it's going to happen because he really is the only guy with any experience in that room. They might want to keep one guy with some experience. I would at least. And you also do need 2 nickel corners on the roster. So if it's Marshall and Hilton as the 2, whoever starts, who's ever the backup, fine. But I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on next week when we see the roster cuts. All I'm going to say. And then I was looking at, would there be any other surprise roster cuts? And would Cam Smith be a surprise? I think so. Not because he's great, but second-round pick, to punt on him after 2 seasons. I know he's been hurt. I know he's not any good. I know he's a bust, but it'd be a little surprise. Now, Anthony Weaver this week when he spoke to the media was like waxing poetic about Cam Smith. Did you see the tackle versus the Lions? Oh, my God. He moves with fluidity. I mean, either Anthony Weaver was trolling the media, which I don't think he would, or he's trying to pump up this kid's confidence through the media, knowing all those players read the transcript of what, those guys say. It just it made no sense. Yeah, it was a nice tackle versus the Lions. Finally, he made 1 tackle in 1 preseason game in 3 years. Let's not go nuts. But he was really praising him. So I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to play mind games with him. But I think if he was cut, I'd be a little surprised. Channing Tindall, same thing. And he was a pick in round 3. He's been here 1 year longer. I think 1 year long. Yeah, he's been here 1 year long. He helps on special teams. Like, he stinks at linebacker, but he helps on special teams. And would Miami cut him a 3rd-round pick for someone like Eugene Asante, who could probably also help on special teams and not play linebacker? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. And I don't know if I consider that a surprise anymore. It has been a few years since he was drafted. There's that. But I think we're going to see, not a big surprise, but I think someone a lot of fans think will make the team, who I'm not so sure is. And, we've been talking about this week over at Dolphins Talk Extra. So if you're not subscribed, again, subscribe. Patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Use the promo code DTX1. First month is $1. Taj Washington is not a lock to make this team. And if you look at the Miami wide receivers, like, they're going to carry 6 or 7. Like, how is he not going to make the top 6 or 7? Of course he is. You got Hill, you got Waddle, you got Nick Westbrook-Kenny, you got Malik, and then you got Taj, and then you got Eskridge, and they're, of course he's going to make the team. Not so fast, my friend. Taj Washington is 5'10", which is small, and he is fast, which is great. But he's a small, fast guy. The Miami Dolphins have the market cornered on small, fast wide receivers with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Malik Washington. Do they need a 4th short, fast wide receiver? I say no. What the Dolphins need is a 2nd big guy. And you look at, if it's not Taj Washington, who would it be? Well, Eric Ezukanma is finally healthy, and he's 6'2", and he's athletic as hell, and he was a 4th-round pick, opposed to Washington, who was picked around 7. And Theo Wease, is 6'3". He's even taller, and he's had a fantastic camp. Now, I know Wease is raw, and he can't get the separation you want, but again, okay, not the end of the world here for a 6 wide receiver or something. And Eric Ezukanma, when he's played, which has been rare, he actually played halfway decent. I'd rather we got Nick Westbrook as our, big wide receiver, the big physical guy. I'd rather have Eric Ezukanma or Theo Wease and have a 2nd big wide receiver instead of a 4th small one. Because I count Eskridge. He is technically a wide receiver, but he's just going to be a guy who's returning punts and kickoffs. He's not really going to get much run at wide receiver. It's pretty much going to be Hill, Waddle, Malik, Nick Westbrook-Kenny, and I'd rather have another big guy. So there's 4. Eskridge is 5, 6. Give me Eric Ezukanma. And I mean, if they carry 7 or 8, then yeah, he's going to make the team. But I would not be shocked if Taj Washington's cut. I wouldn't be shocked if they kept Eric Ezukanma and Wease, have a couple big guys in that room just because they're so bad at tight end that you could line one of them up in a slot on third down, and they got the size to match up well with a linebacker or safety. So I wouldn't be shocked if they kept a couple, honestly. But Taj Washington, again, is that a big shock? No. But he's probably one of those guys they're hoping maybe we can cut and he'll pass through waivers and we'll add him to the practice squad. That might happen. Or he might just make the team. I'm just sort of sharing some thoughts here. It's not always about the 6 or 7 best guys you keep at one position. It's how you have a well-rounded room. We got a lot of small, fast guys. We need maybe a second big guy in there. So there's that. And one other name I wouldn't cut, Matt Dickerson, because on that line, they're going to keep 3 rookies, and Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips, and Grant. And you got Sealers, great. You got Jones, great. But I want one more vet in that room. 3 rookies is a little bit of a risk. And he's played well this camp, and I hope they're able to find a spot for Matt Dickerson on that defensive line. Just have another vet up there. That's all I'm saying. Just have I don't even care if he plays. Just have him on the team. All right, before I get to the final topic, a shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Audible, of course, YouTube, subscribe. We're in season mode. We're going to have shows pretty much every day of the week. Saturday night, myself and Tom, post-game wrap-up show as soon as that game versus Jacksonville ends. And we'll have shows each and every day. We're into our pretty much in-season lineup here as we get ready for week 1 in the Colts. So you don't want to miss a show because no other outlet has you covered on the Miami Dolphins in podcast form like DolphinsTalk.com. Wide range of opinions from various people. Amazing. We have on so many guests, and it's been so good this year with Zach Thomas, Ryan Clark, Louis Riddick, Tom Pelissero. We've had on so many guests, all the big names from the football world we bring to you. So make sure you're subscribed. All right, ESPN.com put out an article, and they went over every rookie that was drafted in this past draft and how they're performing for their team. So I want to go over what they wrote about the Miami Dolphins draft picks. And look, you say this, I know it takes like a year or 2 or 3 to really see how well a draft class does. No one's saying otherwise. But there's been years where I've seen the Miami Dolphins have like 8 or 9 picks in the draft. And at the end of training camp, you're looking, look, 7 of these guys suck. And maybe these 2 or 3 might be guys who are second string or guys who might make the team for like more than 1 year. And it's been rough. This year with this class, and look, I know it's just been a month, but I would say next to every name I'm going to read off, the arrow is pointing up and not down, and that is rare for a Chris Grier draft class. So we've gotten through month 1, and all the signs are positive. Obviously, we won't know more until like after this year, or probably like you probably take the temperature of this come like November 1st, and you take the temperature after the season, and then in the next year, like how well was this class? But right now, things are looking pretty good. Excuse me. Let me go through what ESPN wrote. Kenneth Grant, round 1. Grant has stood out since the pads went on at practice and has consistently demonstrated the ability to defend the run. He has also drawn rave reviews from coaches and teammates for his willingness to learn and has essentially been attached by the hip to Zach Sealer. Miami drafted Grant to play right away, and he's trending towards doing that. All positive, 100% true. Grant will be a week 1 starter. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. And all the reviews have been positive for Grant. Round 2, Jonah Savaiinaia. Savaiinaia is another expected day 1 starter for the Dolphins offensive line that believes it's added toughness and physicality this offseason. He is adjusting to the speed of the NFL game, but he has flashed brilliance this summer and should be a solid rookie starter. I want to spend a second here because that is 100% right. There's 2 sides to this coin. The positive, he has at times flashed brilliance where him and Patrick Paul have actually moved people and opened up huge running lanes. And that's a great thing to see for a rookie. But there has been times like that game versus Chicago opening series where they couldn't punch it in the end zone inside the 5. That was on Savaiinaia. And there have been times both in joint practices, regular practices, and in the preseason where, the lack of foot speed is there. So I think going into this season, I know he's like so popular amongst the fan base because Miami just wanted this team to draft an offensive lineman early in the draft. And the fact they gave up all the picks to move up to get him. There's a segment of this fan base, especially online, that he walks on water. I want to pump the brakes on that a little bit. I think he's going to be very good. I think he'll be very good as a rookie, but there's going to be moments where he struggles, especially once again, we get to week 1, he going up against grown ass men. There's going to be moments where he's going to struggle at times. I think the good's going to far outweigh the bad, but when the bad happens, don't flip out. He's a rookie. He went in round 2 for a reason, and the flaws or the red flags that he has with his game are still there. So, don't be too harsh on this kid if he does struggle. Like if he gives up a sack week 1 or 2, or on a big 3rd and 1, he gets pushed back into the running back. Like that's probably going to happen a time or two, but I think the positive will outweigh the negative. And so far, again, great 1 month in start, first training camp for him. Next picks are round 5. Jordan Phillips. Not only will Phillips make the roster, but he might also become a key contributor after a stellar summer and preseason. Yeah, Jordan Phillips, really slow start to camp, but he came on like gangbusters, especially in the 2 preseason games. He's going to be in the rotation on that line. How many snaps he gets per game, I don't know, but he's going to be in the rotation, probably backing up Benito Jones and Grant. Jason Marshall Jr., who we talked about. Marshall will make the initial roster in part because of Miami's depth issues at cornerbacks. Ain't that the truth? So those issues might also provide a path to early playing time. Look, Jason Marshall Jr. was making this roster as long as he has a pulse. This secondary is so freaking bad. As long as Jason Marshall Jr. has a pulse and is alive, he was making this team. Now, how much he plays, I don't know. It sounds like he's working his way into playing time, which is great. But he was gift wrapped. From the moment he was drafted, gift wrapped a roster spot because he's competing against literally football zombies and that guys who don't have a career and are lucky that they're on the Dolphins, so they will have a roster spot. Dante Trader Jr. Dante Trader Jr. was banged up at the start of training camp, but has flashed when healthy and should make the initial roster as a special teams contributor and depth safety. Correct. Trader's missed most of camp. Has missed most of camp. He's going to be like your 4th or 5th safety, and he'll be running down punts and kickoffs, which is fine. Really, for him, you're looking more a year from now. Can he be your number 3 safety? Can he be a starting safety? This year, though, he's like a 4th or a 5th and just special teams guy, which is fine. Ollie Gordon, ESPN wrote that he's a roster lock, especially with Madison's season-ending injury. He's a real shot challenging Jalen Wright for Miami's RB2 role if the preseason production is any indication. Yeah, I already sort of spoke about this. He's going to make the team. How much he plays kind of depends on the injuries here to Wright and Achane, but he's been sensational, probably been the shining star of this preseason and training camp. Quinn Ewers, round 7. Ewers is not far behind the presumed backup Zach Wilson, if at all. He will be on the initial roster, and Wilson will have his hands full fending off Ewers for the QB2 job. Hell effing yeah. Quinn Ewers has really, in my opinion, outperformed Zach Wilson here in camp. Now, I know some people are just going to look at the stats and say, Zach Wilson led 2 touchdown drives versus the Bears. Zach Wilson had a couple touchdown passes, or 1 touchdown pass versus the Lions. Don't look beyond the stats. Zach Wilson's the same stiff he was with the Jets. Holds on to the ball too long. Slow. He doesn't process stuff, which people call that a slow blinker. He just, he's the same guy with the Jets. He has experience. He's just not very good. He was a 2nd overall pick of the draft. The fact that he's a 2nd overall pick of the draft, has all this experience and has all these starts under his belt from his time with the Jets, and a 7th round pick who's got no experience and no expectations has been equal to him in camp or slightly better than him, tells you all you need to know. Give me Ewers. The ceiling's higher. There's room for him to grow. He grew from the first preseason game to the 2nd, and I'm sure he'll look even way better this week too, where Zach Wilson's just the same guy he was his entire career. So good pick there. And last one, Zeke Biggers, that he's lived up to his surname this preseason and has been a disruptive presence at the line of scrimmage, particularly in swatting passes down. He should make the initial roster. Once again, Zeke Biggers is going to make this team. They're all going to make the team. And I would say with all these guys, as of today, August 22nd, it's early, the arrow's pointing up. And I have a funny feeling Grant, Savanaya, Phillips, Marshall, and Ollie Gordon are going to play contributing roles this year. And for Grant and Sabanaya, key roles. Marshall might get thrust into a key role. Ollie Gordon might be running back too. Like, this rookie class is one of the better ones Chris Greer has had in recent years. I feel confident saying that after just one training camp. Because, sometimes your eyes don't lie. Just watch the games, watch the practices, talk to smart people who are there, not your bad faith actors who like to come up with the exaggerations or the hyperboles and the over-the-top positive or the over-the-top negative. Just listen to the smart people and watch with your own eyes. These kids are playing well. And I know it's preseason. I know it's training camp. I know they're going up a lot of them against second stringers, but they're dominating when they're going up against second stringers, which means they're probably good enough to play against the starters. There's still going to be growing pains with them, and I'm sure maybe a few names on that list a year from now maybe might not be here. I don't know. But right now, 1 month in, like I said, there's been years past. We've had 8, 9, 10 rookies we took in the draft. And after the first training camp, the first month, you look like, well, 7 of them suck. I mean, 7 of them don't belong in the league. And we got 1 or 2. Right now, most of those guys shown that they belong in the league and they've earned this roster spot. It's not just being handed to them because they were drafted. That's all for today's show. Thank you for listening. If you're listening Friday night, have a great Friday night, great Saturday. If you're listening on Saturday, enjoy the game tonight. Remember, myself and Tom, post-game wrap-up show Saturday night, right when the game ends. Follow us on social media at Dolphins Talk. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Follow us on all the platforms. DolphinsTalk.com. We got a bunch of great articles up. Check us out there. Read what our writers are putting up. They're putting out great content there. If you're on YouTube, put up a comment in the comment section, subscribe, like, and Dolphins Talk Extra. Patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Promo code DTX1. $1 for the first month. $1. You trust me, you will not regret it. And then after that, it goes to $3. It goes to, $3 a month. And you're going to want to keep it and not cancel because it's really, really cool. We're giving away tons of autographs, got the hiccups now, tons of prizes, and check it out. So everyone have a great night or have a great day. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.